Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the next video in this series, A Coach's View of. And today I'm going to be talking about creativity. And as I've said before, this is a coach's view of. I am the coach in question. So this is my opinion, nothing more than that. If you don't share my opinion, it doesn't make you wrong or me right or the other way around. So I just wanted to talk about this because it's something that's come up in a couple of conversations I've been having recently, and something that was very real for me probably not much more than a year ago. If somebody had said to me, "Do you consider yourself to be creative?" I would have said, "No, definitely not," because I associated creativity with being artistic, and I'm not that. I quite like crafts. I quite like I do a bit of felting, and I can make things, and I cook. So I guess that's sort of creative. But that was the realm that I would have put creativity into. It's artistic, and I can't draw, and I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at that. So I would have said no, absolutely not creative at all. Since I've been in the coaching realm and have been coached myself, I've come to see things slightly differently, because the way I see it now is that our lives are the results of lots of decisions that we've made and lots of paths that we've taken and opportunities that we've taken or not taken. And they're essentially a creation. Our life is a creation. So the life you have at the moment, whether good or bad or indifferent, you've created that. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, if you're having a terrible time at the minute, that's your fault. You've created it like that. It just means that you have some say in it. You can do something about it. And I think sometimes I was talking to somebody just this morning about not wanting to start things. And we were actually talking about sort of artistic projects, but not wanting to start things in case you get it wrong or in case it doesn't come out exactly how you want it to, and that being a barrier. And actually, that's not all that helpful. And I think, as I say, we when we think of creativity, we think of it as being something quite serious, and there being consequences to doing it wrong. When actually, a more helpful way of thinking about stuff is when we think about creating things as a child. When you were coloring in or painting or writing. I used to write poetry as a child, and all the things that and games that we create, things that we make up essentially. We don't take it seriously. We're just playing. And somewhere along the line, we forget how to do that. And we get the idea that everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be, there's a right and a wrong way of doing things. And if we don't do it the same as other people have done it, then we're wrong. And and that's not the case. And certainly over the last year or so, I've really started to see this, and I've started to play with things. And the great thing that I've found, well, the several great things I've found, one of them is that when you play with things and you don't take things too seriously, you're less attached to the outcome. So it will either go okay, it will either be brilliant, or it'll be, that wasn't quite what I was expecting, but it doesn't matter. You don't get too attached to it. And the other thing that I've discovered is playing as an adult is allowed. You can just play at stuff. It doesn't have to be serious. You don't have to say, "Oh, I'm playing at painting, and I've got to be good enough that I can sell my paintings. I've got to be able to do this as a business." I can just play with something because it's fun. I can just play with something because I've got some time to do it and I feel like doing something that's fun. Um, so that's what I found to be helpful is this element of play. And it's definitely coming through in my business as well. So I'll have an idea for something and I'll think, okay, I'll just put that out there and see what happens. And I'll maybe do a social media post, or I'll record a video like this. I mean, the whole YouTube thing just came from playing. I was just playing with making videos, and as you can tell, they're very, very low tech, and I don't take them too seriously. I put them out there and see what happens. I don't expect anything to go viral. That's not what I'm up to. I don't call myself an influencer or a digital marketer or anything like that. I'm just playing at talking about stuff that's come up for me and putting it out there to see if it's helpful for somebody. And if it gets 2 views, great. If it gets 22 views, brilliant. If it gets 50 odd views, oh my God, but there's not a serious reason behind me doing it. And that's not to mean that um I don't take what I do seriously, because if these videos help someone, then that's brilliant. I've done my job. And if if it makes people look at things differently, then that's great. But I'm not doing it for any specific outcome. And I think that's been the helpful shift for me in the last year or so is um, doing things. Sometimes it's great to have a very set outcome in mind. And I want to do this because I want this to happen. But sometimes it's just fun to play and just to say, I'm going to see what happens. I started earlier this year sending out a monthly newsletter. Again, it's very low tech. I have a group on my email. It's not fancy. I might stick a picture on there if you're lucky. But I just do it because it's a way of connecting with people, and that's what my business is about. And it's just putting stuff out there to see if it's helpful for somebody. And the worst that's going to happen is nothing. And a lot of the time, when we try something new, that is the worst that's going to happen, is nothing. We don't do a very good job of it. People don't really notice it. It doesn't turn out how we wanted it to. But so what? And I was talking to somebody last week, I think it was, about fear of getting excited about something, fear of trying something, because I might be disappointed. Well, guess what? In life, you may be disappointed now and again. We've all been disappointed, I'm sure. If you've made it this far through life and haven't been disappointed once or twice, then you're a very special sort of person, because we all had disappointments in our lives and we're still here. We're still upright and breathing. We're still plowing on through. We've probably learned something from it. Disappointment doesn't kill you. So if the worst that can happen is that you'll be a bit disappointed, then that's not the worst thing in the world. So that's my ramblings on creativity. I just wanted to put it out there to help you to look at it maybe a bit differently. Creativity doesn't mean art to being artistic. It just means trying stuff and doing stuff for fun and looking at your life as a creation. And that's very much about taking back control. We all have circumstances in our lives. We all have things that happen to us, and sometimes we have control over that and sometimes we don't. But the way that we deal with it, the way that we make it or allow it to affect our lives, we do have control over that. And so if you want your life to look a certain way, go out there and create it. And that might look a bit big and scary when you look at it as a goal, but creativity happens incrementally. So it's only about taking one step towards it. Um, and that is I'm gonna lead on to a plug from that. So if you are local to me, I am running a vision board workshop in February next year on the 7th of February. And that is a very creative pastime, essentially. So that is about looking at your life and how you want it to look, how you want it to feel, and then having some steps to create it. So a vision board is a great place to start. And if you are local to me and you want more details on that, then please just drop me a message and I will happily share those details with you. But this weekend, maybe if you've got nothing else to do, maybe try something creative. And as I say, that could be something artistic. It can be coloring in, it can be cutting and sticking, it can be cooking, it can be writing a list of what you want your 2026 to look like. This is all creative. It's about creating your life however you want it to look and whatever that looks like for you, whatever creative looks like for you. But don't think that because you can't draw, you're not creative, because you are. We're all creative beings. We've all created the life that we have at this moment. And guess what? We can recreate it at any time we want to. If we don't like the way our life looks at the minute, go out and create something different. And if you want a conversation about what that might look like, then please do get in touch. As I said at the beginning, this is my version of creativity. These are my views, nobody else's. Little disclaimer there. If you don't agree, that's absolutely fine. Scroll on by. If you've made it through the whole of the video, thank you very much. You've added to my views. And if you want to get in touch, I will put how to do that. And I'll put the link to the vision board workshop as well in the show notes. That's it for now. I'll be back at some point, no doubt, when I feel like creating another video, and I hope to see you then. Until then, have a great day.